Hey, what's going on, y'all? Tim Lloyd here with the Zero Hour. Appreciate you guys joining us. I think we're somewhere around to episode 24 roundabouts. And we're coming off the heels of Macon Fight Night. So it's a recap show. We're going to go through the Macon Fight Night. Mixed results for our crew down here. We'll get into it as we get into the show. We're also towards the end of the episode. We've got a couple interviews, both sides of next week's Aries 5 main event will join us. We got Dusty Little and Robbie Ring both dropping in at the end of the episode. Joining us, of course, we've got my man Jeff Hobbs, we got Justin Watson, Greg Hopkins, Torres, Finney, the Punisher, all in the house, guys. Before we get started, y'all do us a favor, give us a like and a subscribe. That helps us out a lot. You'll get notifications when we put new content up. Lots of good stuff coming up here with it being fight week once again next week. As well as the Aries 4 fights are up and around on the channel. So make sure you check it out. You see all the Aries 4 fights for free up here on the channel. So give us a subscribe. You'll know when we're putting up more stuff like the Macon fights here in a few weeks. Also give us a follow on our Instagram and like our Facebook page. And we'll be checking all the boxes. Appreciate you guys. Guys, we've got, before we jump into the Macon review, we had a week off last week on our picks for the UFC. A couple of, in my opinion, less than stellar UFC lineups offerings they're giving us here the last couple weeks. So we took last week off, but coming into this final week of February here, this is where we stand, and it's anybody's ball game here right now. Yours truly in the lead right now with a lead of I've got 1.73 units. I'm sorry, I apologize. I have 1.09 units. I won my play week before last on Jared Cannonier. That was my only play. And so I'm at 1.09 units. Behind me is Justin with 0.73 units, a loss on Brunson. We were opposites on that one. So one of us had to take an L there. Right after that comes Jeff. He is still in the positive here. He actually won last week. He's up 0.15 units. Jeff getting the win on the parlay with Ronnie Lawrence and Cannonier. So he's still within striking distance, less than a unit behind me. Greg is in fourth, down 0.2 units. Last time out, Greg also got the win on his parlay with Adesanya and Ronnie. So for the most part, we did okay. The ones we talked about, and then Torres though. Torres bringing up the rear, 2 units down. Got to make a move here on this final week as Torres had the double whammy, Derek Brunson and Derek Lewis. The Derricks didn't get it done. So that
Come on,
is
Derek.
come on, Derricks.
Wow.
Going into this week here, that is where we stand, and we've got UFC Vegas 49 headlined by Islam Makhachev taking on Bobby Green. Before we get into it, big shout out to our sponsors at Action 247 Sportsbook. If you use the promo code Aries, they will hook you up with a 100% match bonus on your initial deposit up to $800. You can bet it on the fights we've got next week as well, guys. We'll have lines. In fact, I already know the lines. I'm not going to put them out there just yet. Make sure you tune in next week because hopefully we get my man Cody Saptic on here breaking down the fights for Aries 5. We've got lines on those, and they'll be up at Action 24/7. They're all pretty close too, man, which is always cool. There's nothing too widespread there. Let's jump into this week's picks. And Torres, I'm going to let you lead off. You're bringing up the rear, trying to make a move. Got to get out there on a limb a little bit. This one, what you got for us?
Well, after you came back to me and said mine's not as big of a move as at first, so I am going to take Islam Makhachev by submission.
Okay.
I think he beats Bobby Green. Bobby Green taking this fight on 10 days' notice after, he just had an incredible performance against Nate Hoshcroft. What's his name again? I can't say his name.
Nazareth Hashkra.
Yeah.
Ashcraft. Yeah. So, but he just had a really good performance against him, and I just don't understand, who was in his ear, to tell him to take this fight. I don't know, but I feel like what I actually think, Dana is like, look, you take this fight, I'm gonna help you out down the road. Win. I mean, if you win, that's even better for you. If you lose, I'm still help you out. Because somebody had to feel it for Islam, because I think Islam is the next big thing. Yes, some people might not think his style is exciting, but he attracts to the same audience that Habib attracted, and I think Islam is going to be that next guy. So he had to have this fight, and regardless, I think he fights the winner of Gaethje and Oliveira, regardless. So I got that one. I got Terrence McKinney. If anybody remember Terrence McKinney last fight, knocked the guy out in 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And almost towards ACL after that. So, but besides that, man, I got him. I think he's the underdog. I think he's actually pretty good at what he does, and he'll be solid. So I'm taking him in that one as well.
So Torres takes Islam Makhachev by submission along with Terrence McKinney, who's plus 105. That parlay comes back at plus 283. So pretty nice little return there. That'll put Torres in the mix if he can pull it off. Up next in fourth place is Greg. He's just barely down 0.20 units. Within striking distance for sure. Greg, what you coming with?
All right. Well, I'll feed and go off in with Terrence McKinney and Ferrez. Is that ZM? Is that how you pronounce it?
Uh-huh.
All right. So right there, I was looking over their statistics, and ZM has 4 wins by knockout, 5 wins by submission, and only 3 wins by decision. Then he has 2 losses by submission and 1 by decision. He's 11. He's got 11 finishes on his record, 4 by decision. So he's 11-4 there. McKinney has got he's 14-0. He has never seen a decision in his whole career. So I just don't. I can, the combined them, he got 20 out of their 33 fights. 4 of them went to decision. So I'm thinking that this one doesn't see the distance. Then I go and I look at Rodriguez and how you pronounce his name? Petrosian.
Petrosian.
Sorry, Petrosian. All right, so he's got 7 knockouts and he's lost once by knockout. So he's 7-0 in that range right there. Never seen a decision. Rodriguez has 11 finishes. He's got or all fights 11 finishes. Only had 3 seen the distance. He's got 5 wins by knockout and 4 by submission. Then he's got 2. He's been knocked out twice himself. He's only seen the decision 3 times. 2 he's won, 1 he's lost. So out of their 21 fights, 3 of them have seen a decision. So I'm going to say that both of those fights don't go to decision, and I'm going to parlay those.
So that comes back at essentially even money there with inside the distance. Essentially, we're not going to see a final bell on both. That's on Gregory Rodriguez and Armin Petrosian, as well as the fight between Terrence McKinney and Ferrez Ziam. For Greg, it'll come back at even money. And we'll go on next to Jeff. Jeff is in the positive here still, up 0.15 units. Jeff, what's your play?
Well, I'm not as confident on how Islam's going to win. I definitely know Islam's going to win, and I know it's not going to see a final bell. So I've got Islam inside the distance, and I've parlayed that with Jin Yun Fry for a straight-up win.
That'll be even money also for Jeff, plus 100. And I like that one quite a bit, actually. I definitely could see a sub from Islam, but I could also see him like getting his back and kind of just like pounding him out as well. It'll be kind of a coin toss, in my opinion, which one that is. Let's see, Justin in second place, up 0.73 units. What's your play, Justin?
I'm taking. Let me see here. Jonathan Martinez and what's their name? Kim. Do you know her name? Jean Young Kim or something?
Is it Ji-Yu Kim?
Yeah,
Ji-Yeon. Ji-Yeon Kim. Yeah.
Yeah. So on that one, not a ton of expectations on that one. It's more of a fate of Cachoeira, her opponent.
Sure.
On that one, Cachoeira's really never impressed me. And then on Martinez coming off of a pretty nice win. He's got really good boxing. I think if he can keep it standing, stay at range, and set up the boxing, he'll be able to outpoint Perez. So I'll take those 2 for my parlay.
So Ji-Yeon Kim and Jonathan Martinez parlay together comes back at plus 123 for that parlay. Myself in the lead at 1.09 units. I'm going to go with a parlay with. It's got a little bit of Jeff's parlay in there that I've got Jinny Frey. Really similar to Justin's mindset. This is a fate of Hannah Goldie more than anything. I think that she's very arguable to be on the UFC level. Jinyu Frey is my play along with Ramiz Brahimaj. And again, this is another just fate of the opponent. Michael Gilmore is another guy that's arguably a UFC level talent at this point. I think Brahimaj probably subs him, but I'm just going to go with him to win. So I've got Brahimaj, parlay together with Frey, and mine comes back at plus 103, I believe. Yeah, plus 103. So all of our plays, with the exception of Torres, are just right around even money, negligent amounts, either up or down. But Torres going with a big chance here. And that's our plays for the final week of February. We'll see how it shakes out. Maybe we get some more, interesting fights in the coming weeks here, because these last two cards have been hard to really get a whole lot of hype behind. There is Bellator this weekend, but it's over in Europe, so not a whole lot of hype behind that one either. Did anybody watch the PFL Challengers the first week? Did anybody have any opinions on those, Torres? You checked those out? That was right around your size, dude. So I thought you might be watching.
I did check one out. It was a guy actually. TK Matches beat.
Oh wow.
Dog, I just went blank on his name. He trains
at Carl Williamson.
Carl Williams. There you go.
Okay, yeah, from Atlanta.
From Atlanta, yeah. And actually, he was TK Matches' last amateur fight.
Eastside High School.
Beat him by split decision. So I've watched a few of Carl Williams' fight. He's fought a few. I think he fought once in AFC. Majority of his fights in NFC.
Yeah.
He fought like once in BT. So I've seen him fight. And I seen how he won, man. So hey, props to him. He's doing his thing. So it was interesting to see some of him fight. But besides that, he's the only one I watch because of knowing of him. So
sure.
All favorites won that night. Every single favorite won. All of them were the betting guys up there. I was like,
We'll have to just keep an eye out here. I think we've got March 18th, if I'm not mistaken. Damir Frotmagovic will be on there, so I'm definitely excited to see how he does on there. From what I can gather, it's very important to look good in this because, it's not like this is a tournament. These guys get one fight this season, and if you it's more like a contender series to a degree. One guy out of the bunch is going to get a contract, and that may be to be in the big $1 million tournament, or it may be as like a developmental type situation. But it's important to go out there to look good. Because I watched it. It's on YouTube. It's a little hokey the way they do it. It's got like this celebrity aspect. They've got like Ray Lewis and
I saw that.
And
Tyrone Woodley.
Yeah, Tyrone Woodley and like Jeremy Piven. Those are the guys that are like kind of have a big say in like.
Weren't they over? Was it Ray Lewis over like betting $1 million on something? Like the whole time he's like, I'm going to bet $1 million on this fight or something like that. He's sitting over joking the whole time. I was like, what the hell are they doing?
He probably wasn't really joking though.
He probably wasn't joking. But hey, it'd be cool to go there and meet them people. That'd be nice to do.
No doubt. Moving on, guys. Let's get on to our next segment. It is the Macon Fight Night recap. It went down this past Saturday. Down in Macon, Georgia. We were down at Rush MMA. Big shout out to Bubby Mitchell for letting us use his facilities. It turned into a really nice venue once we had it all set up. High energy that night, man. It was a wild one. You can still catch the replay, I guess, over at Spectation Sports. We'll be getting the fights up here on our YouTube channel here after 30 days. So that's why you need to subscribe so you'll get to see them. But let's kind of get through it, guys. We had 9 bouts on the evening. And we're not going to go to everybody on everything here, but we'll just kind of run through these. We started the night out with grappling. It was Kira Mitchell, Bubby Mitchell's daughter, going out there and getting the triangle submission about a minute in over Charlotte Staller from Independent MMA. And watching this one was like watching it in fast forward. Honestly, it was like they were moving so quickly. And little Kira Mitchell is a buzzsaw. I mean, she latched on to that triangle, was back and forth. Kind of went to an armbar for a little bit, then back to the triangle, and finally got the submission. Props to both these girls going out here putting on a show. Then the next day, I believe she went and competed at a fairly high-level wrestling tournament maybe down there. If it wasn't wrestling, maybe it was grappling, but
it was wrestling.
She kicked ass in that too. So, she's one to watch out for. At only 12 years old, here in about 6 years, Jeff, we're going to be all probably trying to get our claws into Kira Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. After that, we had Muay Thai. We'll just cluster these two together. It was a super heavyweight bout. Austin Mallory knocks off Kevin Archer, 3rd round TKO, about 14 seconds in after a knee to the body. A lot of clubbering out there. A lot of hard shots from these guys. We even got an attempted Showtime Superman punch off the cage that got shared apparently by Mick Maynard. Out there. I don't know if that's good or bad.
And Anthony Pettis.
And Anthony Pettis as well. Jeff, your thoughts on these first two? It was entertaining. It was. I wish he'd landed it. That would have been all cool.
Oh, no, I'm glad he. It wouldn't have been as awesome if he had landed it. It wouldn't have gone
You're right.
viral. It
Yeah,
wouldn't have
right.
gone viral. It was the whiff and how far away he was from it that has given it the wheels that it has, man. I was unaware that it had been retweeted by
I think
those guys.
Izzy liked it.
Oh shit. We're well. Hey, we're well on our way. We're going. We're going viral. The jiu-jitsu match was phenomenal. Watch a little Kira Mitchell do her thing, hit the gritty after it was over, put on a show. It was already a great interview at her young age. So I mean, a little girl's got it going on when it comes to her skill and her people skills already. So she keeps at it. She could be a little, a fireball here if this is something she sticks with. You can tell. I mean, she's probably from the time she came out of the womb. Bubby's probably been, drilling her already. But the super heavyweight fight, I mean, it was exactly what you would have anticipated or thought just when you watch these two guys get in the, climbing the cage. Haymakers from the waist, getting pulled back. There's just nothing but freaking bombs, man. There's not much else you can say. I mean, you kind of get what you get out of that kind of, fight. It was a great way to get the crowd, kind of lathered up though. Two guys coming in here and just throwing from the hip and gunslinging. So it was entertaining. It served its purpose of kicking the show off with some oohs and ahs, and it was good.
Moving on, we had two amateur MMA bouts. Now, Georgia amateur rules, as we explained last week, they're more limited. So you can, when it's standing, I guess it's a typical fight beyond the fact that we're in shin pads. But once it goes to the ground, you can't ground and pound to the head. You can only ground and pound to the body. So it really makes a finish pretty tough to come by. And so I'll go to Justin on these two. I'm hoping you had a chance to watch these, Justin. So we had Emery Searles, a debut fighter out of the home gym, Rush MMA. He gets a unanimous decision win over Chauncey Perry out of X3 Marietta. He gets a 30-27 across the board, all three judges, 10-9s. That was it was a good fight. Searles showed a lot of well-roundedness, and he was really active the early part of the fight, the first couple rounds. The third round, he started to slow down a little bit. I thought that was Perry's best round, but still not quite enough to give him the round. So Searles definitely on his way. Perry drops to 0-3, and now he gets ready to go to full. I guess he doesn't have to do the limited rules. He'll be a dangerous one. He'll be a dangerous 0-3. He's not a bad fighter by any means. And then we had Quintavious Marshall take on Adrian Hayes. Quintavious Marshall from Milledgeville there, a very tough black belt, solid grappling. And he gets a unanimous decision over Adrian Hayes, who's from Gracie Decatur. A lot of people there to see Adrian Hayes. He had a good crowd there. But Marshall just, the grappling so advanced, really just had great positions the whole time. Wasn't able to get the finish. I thought that he was in good positions to get the finish. Wasn't able to get Hayes out of there, though. It's very tough with those limited rules. 30-25 for one judge, 30-26 for two judges. Justin, your thoughts on these two? Agree with the scoring, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. So start with the Quintavious Marshall. Obviously, we know that he's got super high level grappling. The striking in the beginning left a little bit to be desired, I guess, but got him to where he wanted to get into the clinch and get to the ground. And like you said, his control and his positioning is just top notch. He didn't go broke and try to dive on submissions. He went position over submission, and easily won the fight. His striking as the fight went on, it looked a little bit better. Just something about in the very beginning, you could tell that this guy's definitely a grappler, but he looked good, man. Once he gets that striking up a little bit, he'll make a lot of waves for sure. And then Chauncey Perry and Emery Searles. Emery looked good, man. For his debut. Chauncey, I told you guys last week, for a guy that's 0-2, he was pretty sharp 0-2. He was not just a scrub, and he brought the fight. He came in there, but just kind of outclassed both on the feet and in the grappling by Searles. I think he just was a little bit just had his number a little bit there. But Chauncey Perry, like you said, he's going to be a real tough 0-3 for somebody next.
Moving on to the advanced amateurs, and I'll get a couple takes from you guys on these. Up first, it was Joel Winters. Now we're on to more or less full amateur rules, what we're accustomed to up here. Joel Winters defeats Brendan Chapman by a unanimous decision. Joel Winters, of course, ATT Lima. My opinion, probably the most improved fighter that I've seen on this card, just from the last time I seen them to now. Joel Winters has really made some strides, leveled up in several aspects of his game, and just 21 years old, especially. Knocks off Brendan Chapman out of Upstate Karate, who was a very tough guy coming in. I watched some video on Chapman coming in, and he was very adept at both striking and grappling. And Joel really was dominant out there, honestly. Took advantage of the lead leg kicks from Chapman to get takedowns pretty much every time. And gets a unanimous decision 30-24 across the board. That's 10-8, all 3 rounds in agreement from all 3 judges. Dominant performance from Joel Winters. Torres, you get a chance to check this one out?
I did. I went back and watched the whole pay-per-view. Yes, Joel, dude. Yes, I know he has there's a little rivalry going on between him and Brevin.
Yeah.
But Joel's a cool guy, man. He was back there in my locker room, man. It was fun to talk to him. He's really cool. I really enjoyed watching him fight. And his style is a little similar a little bit to mine a little bit. And I just really enjoy watching him. And I'm like, man, he has improved since his last fight. Like, he did look really good, because we were talking like, man, Joel is looking good. So, man, whenever those guys want to go in and scrap at it, man, I'm ready for Brevin and Joel, man. That's gonna be a fun fight to watch. And yes, and look, Joel got it going, man. So excited to see where he goes from this.
Jeff, your take on this one?
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I agree when it comes to Joel. If you think back just to October of last year, I think it was Aries won, and Brevin won his debut, I believe, that night, and Joel was very adamant at that, about competing against him at that time. Wasn't sure if that was, a fight we'd even want to see, or if he was. I know it sounds bad to say ready for somebody who just won their debut, but from what Brevin showed us, it just seemed like he was going to be a little too much for Joel. And then we fast forward to February of 2022 now, and it was such improvement in Joel Winters that I think there's no question that he not only has earned it, but deserves to be in that type of what would be a marquee fight on an all amateur show and a really high fight on a card on a pro-am. So I think Torres is going to get his wish and probably see that sooner rather than later. What was the other one we were talking about, guys?
That was it. I just did this one.
Okay, we just did one. Okay,
yeah.
I thought we did two. Yeah, that's we talked earlier, man. The scorekeeping is what it is. I've never, I don't know. I don't know if I would have been able to hang at the judges' table at this fight. They would have looked at me like the black sheep, like, what's a 10-9? What are you watching? Because them 10-8s were going. They were free. They were giving them away for free. So
3 of them. I mean, like, that's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Three judges for 3 rounds. It's tough to say that his opponent didn't put up enough of a fight to get a 10-9. So I don't know. Maybe I don't think I should judge in Georgia. Justin, however, would be. I mean, he would fit right in. They'd never know where he's from.
Yeah, because I know how to score.
Yes. Moving on, the amateur main event. This one was a very highly anticipated one for the Georgia State Amateur Bantamweight title. It was the champion Malcolm Wellmaker defending against Earl McKinney. Wellmaker 8-1 in this one, coming out of Fagler's martial arts, Kimpo Karate down in Augusta, Georgia. Very highly decorated amateur. Also holds the belt for Conflict and another promotion down in Florida. But man, I watched the video on this guy coming in and was like really, really impressed. I never got to see him live before. And he knocks off Earl McKinney in this. Earl McKinney comes in 4-0 out of Striker Fight Center. A lot of hype behind him as well at 4-0. But Wellmaker just dominant, man. Round 3, submission, rear naked choke, 2 minutes, 14 seconds in. Wellmaker makes his declaration that he's going pro, and he definitely should. That guy is a very, very solid talent. I'm high on him for sure. And, like to see McKinney again. Obviously, that he ran into a really tough opponent here for that title. But Wellmaker, yeah, he's got the goods, man. The striking, the grappling. He's very tall and rangy. Apparently, he makes 125 too. That guy is a problem. Justin, your thoughts on this one, man? Did Wellmaker deliver the goods?
Yeah, man. I told you guys last week, Wellmaker is something else, and just like you said, dominant performance. Earl McKinney, he was throwing hard, man. Landed some good shots. He was really, good on the feet, good on the ground. Everywhere he was solid. It's just Malcolm Wellmaker's just on a different level, Both these guys, though, could definitely compete at the pro level right now. And Malcolm Wellmaker obviously is going to, and we'll see him, I believe, make some big waves, especially, man, at 125, at 5'9", 5'10". He's going to be a real problem. He's got super rangy, great striking, good wrestling, and good submissions. He's going to be a problem.
Torres, you get a chance to see Wellmaker in action. Was that the first time you've seen him?
That was the first time seeing him live.
Yeah.
So sometimes I go over there, obviously I go to Macon and train sometimes. I'm from there.
Yeah.
But I know of Amoon, and Amoon trains with Wellmaker and a lot of those guys from a lot of those gyms down there in Atlanta or Augusta. And I've known him, Wellmaker, man. He's a beast, man. It's time for him to go pro, man. I didn't know he was 25. I did not know he was older than me. That was crazy. And but man, he looked really good. Earl McKinney now. Make no mistake about it, Earl McKinney, it wasn't bad himself, man. He's young. Obviously, he'll be taking over that division there in Georgia.
Yeah.
Man, Malcolm Wellmaker, it was really good talent between both of them. Really good to see him be able to adjust as the fight go on. And, you saw the phases. You saw it in the striking with those leg kicks. And then you saw it eventually in the grappling, when he put him in the rear naked choke. So Malcolm got it on all phases, man. And he's one of those guys, you're going to be on the scene for him, man. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. But yeah, it was great to watch him for the first time a little bit live. So that was cool.
Then we moved to the pros. It was our man, Greg Hopkins, taking on the Venom Assassin, Warren Smith. This was a wild one. I haven't struggled to call a fight like this in a minute. It was very hard to predict what was going to happen next. Definitely gave the fans their money's worth. The fans were up and cheering. And a fight delivers when the fans are up like that, and neither guy are really a hometown guy. Neither guy is really from Macon or has a fan base in Macon, but the fans were lit. Kind of one of those crazy first rounds. Greg, if you go back and watch it through about the first 4 minutes, Greg is winning. He's leading. He's landing more shots. But then at about the 1 minute mark, you see the energy levels begin to wane. And after kind of unloading, I thought honestly, Greg, you were going to get Warren out of there. At one point, you started opening up with some big knees to the head that were square. And I thought for sure you were going to get him out of there, my man. But Warren proved a bit resilient, and Greg maybe emptied the gas tank there. Second round, we got about 45 seconds in the second round, and Warren finally finds the mark on our man Greg Hopkins. Of course, this is kind of the cool thing about this show is you get to hear perspectives from people that you're not typically going to hear directly after a loss. So, Greg, what's your take, man? It was a tough night. You put on a very entertaining fight. I know you're disappointed, obviously, with the outcome.
Yeah, to say the least, I'm disappointed. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's an embarrassing loss. It sucks. I'm not looking to call Warren back out again. But it's one that anybody would want to avenge. But yeah, going into that fight, I lost 24 pounds in 15 days. Got it off, and then went in to fight. It was a short notice fight, but I did sign the contract, and I agreed to fight him. And my hat's off to Warren. He did stick out, and I trained to lose weight. I wasn't really training to fight. So when I got out there about 40 to 50 seconds into the first round, I realized how out of shape I was. And I thought at that point in time, if I was able to stagger him at any point in time, I needed to just empty it all out and put it on him and try to finish him. And at that one point in time, I even looked up at the ref and I was like, "Are you going to stop this fight?" And Warren was just sitting there, just not, because I didn't know what was going on. He said I'd hit him in the nuts, but I didn't hit him in the nuts. And then I thought his shoulder was hurting too. I wasn't really sure, and I was just like, are we really just going to keep? So I unloaded, and then the dump came, and even in, he landed in the mount in the first round, and he started peppering me on top. And then the thing that bothered me most was the doctor coming in after the first round and telling me to stay down, like trying to hold me down, like, hey, stay down, we're going to make sure. And I'm like, man, get the fuck off of me, dude. Like, nobody stopped the fight. And then another thing that made me mad is after the fight, he made me go to the hospital, and I understand that you have protocols and things to go by, but I mean, if anything had like maybe a mild concussion at the worst, and made me go to the hospital and sitting there and like by myself for 4 hours with nobody be there because of COVID and everything. Other than that, man, I don't want to like shed any throw any shade towards Warren, man. He came game, he came ready, and he did what the fuck I was trying to do. So like, hats off to Warren. It's fantastic. 6 minutes of action. I don't think there was a better 6 minutes of action in that whole card, but grand rest assured, I know I'm on a medical suspension for loss by knockout, but I will be back. It's not the last fight that I'm taking. I will be coming back to fight again, and granted, I will be in better shape, and don't know how much longer I'll stay at 170. I mean, I know that was a hard cut to make, but in 2020, in 2 weeks, it's hard to do it for anybody. So let's just see where I stand, and come May or so, we'll see this summer. But good job, Warren. I've already messaged him on Facebook telling him good job, because I know I'm not no pushover. That's a quality win for him, and I'm happy for him. I wish it would have went the other way, but that's just how it went.
Jeff, we were there for it. We've set up a few of Warren's fights in the past, and there's always that caveat that's like, this guy's record isn't the greatest, but he's got a right hand that can be a game changer.
What's up, bud?
Jeff, I think you're muted. Oop. Yeah. Yeah, still, yeah, we don't hear you. Now we do. Now I heard that. Yeah, now we're good.
Now?
Yep, we're good.
Right. Yeah, we've known from the time we started working with Warren that he was going to be a deceptive and a deceiving record for someone if you went in there and took him lightly, which I don't think Greg took him lightly whatsoever. I think it was just a matter of, like what Greg said, he was battling a different battle, outside of the fight itself, and that was just his want to take the fight, and then what it was going to take to get to fight night. I mean, absolutely, like you said, during introductions, there's really no cheers for either guy, but it didn't take but a few seconds into this fight before everyone was ooh, with every punch. There was a reaction. Different sides of the gym decided who they were oohing and ahhing for, and so when one would swing from the hip and throw a haymaker or some.
Oh, we lost you again, Jeff. I think you might just have a weird connection. While Jeff gets it figured out, we'll round out this one with Torres, my man. What is it like when you're getting ready for a fight? You're up next, So are you just when a fight like this is happening, one of your teammates is out there, it's a slobber knocker. Are you kind of in your own world? You're zoning in for your fight, or is it easy to kind of get what's going on out there?
Well, see, the thing is, I'm a really emotional guy, especially when I'm about to get ready to fight. Mm-hmm. So it was tough for me to be.
Sorry, Fanny.
At the beginning, like I saw some in the first round, so they had to hold me back a little bit at the end of the first round because when I saw Greg, he did get taken down, and then like he was like the ground and pound started happening. So I get really emotional, and I'm just back there about to lose it, They was like, look, don't watch no more of the fight. Like, stop. Don't watch no more of the fight. So, but, I went back and watched the fight myself on the pay-per-view. I was still wondering why that fight wasn't stopped when Warren wasn't defending himself. He wasn't defending himself. He was turning away. Those shots, I mean, yes, some of those shots did get through. Were they fully all the way damaging a little bit? Probably not. But it was just constant action being put on Warren. And he wasn't defending. He wasn't fighting back. He was just standing there. So that was interesting. Now I know if it was an amateur fight, it probably would have been stopped. But and I know it's a pro fight, got to go all the way to weight, but he wasn't fighting back. But it probably allowed Warren to recover to whatever happens. And obviously, as Greg said, he blew his load in that sequence. So like I said, tough fight for Greg, man. But no doubt he'll obviously be back. He obviously took that fight, with an opportunity to get that win. But we already know that wasn't the best Greg we saw on Saturday night. If anybody has watched his career, we all know that wasn't the best Greg. And no shot to Warren. Like, congratulations, Warren. Warren went in there and got that win. He beat Greg. But this is just me talking. I fully believe if we got the Greg that we've seen beforehand, I think there'll be a different outcome.
Greg.
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah, I was just going to ask Greg. I mean, just from curiosity standpoint, did you have to base your game plan on the physical condition that you knew you were in? Obviously we know you've got a huge wrestling base. Was it just one of those things that you knew inside, just where your cardio was at, that you just knew I can't try to grind this guy out. I can't take a lot of shots that maybe and use a bunch of energy that if they don't work, then I've blown that wad and then I don't have what I need left to try to knock them out.
To be honest, this was a wild card fight. I had nothing planned. I just knew that the worst part about this fight was to make the weight, and I didn't even plan for after that because I've seen video footage of Warren, and I knew my wrestling would trump him in any way possible. But when it came to fighting, and I was able to even reach him and get to him, I lost all train of thought. My head wasn't in it. Even warming up backstage with Matt, I was getting tired and I was gassing just warming up. So I was like, okay, so here's the thing. And then when I did get him staggered and have him in a position to where I could maybe possibly get the finish, I just dumped. I wasn't thinking right. It's just and it's a brain fart that, I learned in a very, very, very hard, valuable lesson that night. It's, at any level, of professional, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're a professional fighter at that level, you can't just step in and take a moment's notice fight and not be ready. I mean, I was coming off of a torn LCL, against
Martino.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nick Martino. I was coming off of a torn LCL, sorry, and haven't been able to go to the gym since in 8 months. And then when this opportunity arose, I was like, you know what, I'm feeling good. Let's go do this. But I haven't trained in 8 months, and then I want to jump in there and try to lose 24 pounds and then, take a 15-minute fight against somebody who does have knockout powder, which was the only thing that I did worry about against him was his ability to knock people out. And, he's got quality wins. As many losses as he does have quality wins, and he's got one to add to it now, that being me.
I think it was something, Tim and I talked on the ride home back. And again, if Warren's watching or anybody else, I don't want anybody to think that this is a shit on Warren type of thing. But if there were odds on this, I think we're all in agreement, where the odds makers would have went just based on, record. But this has to be a cautionary tale. Not that you did it, but for everyone else. I mean, if you watch this fight or you went back and watched this fight, this has to tell everyone you can't, like you said, you're out for 8 months. You can't get off the couch and decide to do this. If you didn't put it in, you can't take an opponent lightly. That this sport with 4-ounce gloves, man, is unforgiving. And if
very serious game. It's a very, very serious game.
And you end up in the hospital all night for precautionary reasons. Again, not because I think you did those things, but one could look at this situation and think, well, he shouldn't have got off the couch, and done it. But, you look at somebody's record and you think, this might be a safe fight for me. None of them is safe when someone on the other side of the cage with those gloves are trying to, knock your lights out.
Moving on to our co-main event. My man Torres Finney makes his pro debut, and they came out, man. So they came out in droves and make it deafening in there. The place was shaking. I knew it was going to be like that. And it was a wild, wild scene. Torres gets the win. Second round TKO over a very tough Wesley McCracken, a guy from upstate karate. Great trainers, a guy that we talked about last week. Is not a guy that you can sleep on by any means. It's talking to Torres' coach afterward, like, this could, if Torres were the least bit the type to overlook someone or the least bit type of person to take someone for granted, this would have been a trap fight because McCracken's record doesn't do his skill set justice. You know, we'd seen him come off of a big head kick knockout win the last time out. And, you know, Torres able to take advantage of another kind of similar to what Joel Winters fight with the upstate karate guy. Both guys kind of come out throwing those naked leg kicks. It left him wide open for the big takedowns. Torres gave McCracken some sky miles a couple times in this one, able to grind him out in the second round, kept the dominant mount position for the bulk of the fight. I thought that McCracken was doing a fairly good job of covering up, but just not offering any sort of resistance back or offense back. And I think the referee after a while just kind of got tired of seeing that. Looked like a little bit of disgruntlement in the corner over there, but it's hard to say that you see the situation getting a lot better for McCracken at that point late in the second round. Let's go to the man himself. Torres, thoughts on this pro debut? I know that this was one of those fights where, you know, you've got a lot of support there, which is obviously overwhelming and it pumps you up, but it's also a distraction to a degree. It's a lot of weight on your shoulders to carry against a guy that is not going to just roll right over for you.
No, man. You literally saw some of those, some of that Marine background in there for Wes, not giving up, not quitting. But yeah, I told a lot of people. It's funny. It comes to the casual, you know, that looks at, oh man, he's 1-3. Oh, that's 30 seconds first round. No, that's not the case because they're all professional now. And Wes McCracken has been fighting for a very long time. He's been fighting longer than I have. I've only been doing this for a year and a half. You know, people got to remember, I've only been doing this for a year and a half.
Right.
So, you know, he has a lot of experience in the cage. And, you know, I surely wasn't overlooking him. I was definitely, but as I said, I was ready for anything that he brought. And I feel like if I just always did my game, you know, I was going to come out on victorious. And I felt that way. And, you know, Wes did some really good things in there. He did. I really thought I had him with that head and arm choke, man. And there's some small technique things I did make a mistake on my part. And obviously going to get those things corrected. I thought I had that Americana. There's some more technique things I did on that case that I didn't, that I will get corrected. So he did some good things, you know, first time throwing elbows, you know. There's just a lot of different things I know I need to work on, but overall, I mean, hey, we come out with the win. And Coach Matt, I mean, you know, he said it best, man. He said, you know, I had everything, not much to gain, but almost everything to lose besides going 1-0. Becoming 1-0 was the main thing, but fighting at home in Macon, it was exciting, but man, boy, it was tough, dude. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom one time, and it just a boatload of people trying to, and I was like, so I put my hood on and I just like walked to the bathroom as fast as I could, man. Like everybody wanted to see me and like give me pump, and like I get like 30 calls, and it's a whole thing process. But man, I tried my best to stay focused, and I was blessed to come out with the win. So it was fun, man. That place was it was rocking, man. And
the action in the crowd was exciting as well.
Oh Lord, yes.
A lot of passionate fans out there. Hey, props to Wesley McCracken too, though. That's not a spot that is easy to fill. People are not trying. First off, Torres, if you look him up, it's obvious that he's a phenom. It's obvious that his athleticism background makes him not a fun fight. Then you double it with the fact that you're going to do it in Macon, in his hometown, and it becomes less appealing by the minute, honestly. So props for him to wading into the lion's den there and being the guy that has, you know, the whole room against him, more or less. That's not an easy thing to do, but equally tough, I think, like we said with Torres. That's a lot of expectations on your shoulders. Everybody's expecting you to win, you know, and it's not like you've just got a cream puff in front of you. You've got to go out there and earn your win. So a lot of times guys will be in these spots and have, you know, a schlub in front of them that's they don't have to worry about tearing through. When you've got that many people to satisfy, and you still got to worry about getting the win because you know your opponent's going to be tough. I know that's difficult, so props to you, Torres, for putting yourself in that spot where you know, things could have very easily gone off kilter and sent everybody home sad.
Yeah, I know. It was so. I mean, yeah, like imagine if, you know, like so. And that's the thing. Like, I mean, like I said, I knew West was going to be a little tough. I mean, come from AKA, you know, you come from a gym like that. Now you train upstate. I mean, you're gonna get some good rounds in, man. So. there's like I said, he did some good stuff, man. I mean, he wasn't bad at all. I mean, I would like to see him against, in the cage a few more times, because I remember when he was getting ready to fight Chad Fairview, and he something happened in that fight, so they couldn't fight. So
I think Chad looked him up, maybe.
Yeah, man. It could have been, man. But yeah, man. But yeah, like so. Props to Wes for taking that fight, man, and props to everybody that came out. And it was an exciting night, something I won't forget. That was one of those memories that you will lock in that you'll never forget, man. And one of the things, Jesse Wobble has this little YouTube thing of the fight up close, like he was recording through his phone right beside the cage, and like man, to see the crowd reaction to like everything, that was a really cool experience. So. It was fun, man.
It's gotta be humbling too to see that many people supporting you.
Yeah,
that's definitely got to make you feel nice.
It is, man. Like that's what I was saying. Like the people back at home, they're the ones that really support me a lot. Like when we have those pay-per-views and stuff like that, man, those are the guys that are buying all the pay-per-views. Like when we're when I used to play high school football down there, man, that's how I used to be. We used to have like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people all in the stadium, trying to watch us play. Or when they came to me to watch me wrestle in the state championship, everybody, they closed school down, everybody just to come to watch me. I just been thankful for all of them very much, man. They've really been a backbone to me just pushing forward. So that's just another piece to why I work hard. But I love everybody there in Macon and Jones County.
So you mentioned you guys have already identified some spots that you need to polish up on, work on. What's the game plan? Are you guys going to take a few months off to work on those things? You're looking to get back in there and just kind of test it out in the lab. What's the next step for the Punisher?
Yeah, that's the case, man. Currently, yes, I'm going to work on all of those things. Take some time to work on some things. My management group, they called me. We talked. I got an opportunity to be able to talk to I can never say his name right. Malachi Makalki.
Yeah, I think it's like Malky.
Malky. Yeah, I got an opportunity to talk to him, and he was talking about some opportunities coming up for me. So in the near future, yes. Hopefully, yeah, in the near future, yes. But yes, there's some opportunities I will be going for, particularly in May. So that's one of the things. The management team, they've been really helping me out a lot first round. So have an opportunity to be able to do that. But currently right now I'm just gonna be training, just getting better, and just see what folds for me. So
and of course calling the action next week at Aries 5.
Oh, that's right. I will be there.
You can have my seat.
You did a great job.
Yeah.
You always look. You did a great job.
Well, I appreciate it.
What's the other guy's name?
Sam.
Sam. Yeah, you did. That was fun.
Greg, you didn't get to see it live, but I know you had a chance to go back and check it out on the replay. Your thoughts on your man Torres' pro debut?
Oh yeah, you know me though. I'm completely biased. I'm all about Finney, man. He did great. I know he didn't perform like he would have wanted to, especially. But granted, this was in his hometown, and I'll go ahead and ask Finney this. Finney, you ever want to fight in your hometown again?
Nope, never.
Nope, not ever again. Never again. Because the nerves.
It was fun, but man.
But the nerves and the anxiety and just how much is actually on your shoulders carrying around, because you have a lot of people in that crowd. And you sold a lot of tickets, and that many people just weighing down, and you can't even turn a corner when you're in your hometown fighting without somebody saying, "Hey man, are you ready?"
The dumbest question.
Yeah, and not just that one person. Every single, "Are you ready? Hey, are you ready for your fight?" No, I'm gonna ask me. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I'm ready for the fight. I want to be here, but yeah, every single. But anyways, with that being said, I know that Finney didn't put on the, the top 100%, grade A+ performance that he wanted to. But nonetheless, though, he still did. It was a phenomenal performance, especially Finney's 22 years old, right, Finney? 23 years old, and he has a career ahead of him, starting with a win over a Wes McCracken. He's 1-3, but dude, the guys he fights, he's a tough cat. I see that. Pick somebody else out to fight him now. Like, who else wants to fight a guy that's 1-4 or Wes McCracken? That's a very deceitful 1-4. I can tell you that right now. Fight him. I see. He will see him at 500 within the next 2 years. But just the takedown for Finney, we don't have to polish nothing up on that. We're good there in the takedowns. But I'm not going to sit here and shit on Finney though, because he did a phenomenal job. He won his fight. But I love you, Finney.
Don't crap on me. I need all.
No, but just a little fluid. Like Finney's a preacher, man. He's a super duper nice guy, and he's all about the sport, the martial art. And I'm an asshole. I go out there, I try to knock motherfuckers out. Like we got to instill that in Finney. Like when you go out there, you have got to just get mean and just turn loose and let that freak out, man. And but it's just I don't know what it's going to take. We're just going to get Finney mad one day in there and just let him loose, because he doesn't really get mad.
Start unleashing those elbows, man.
Yeah.
I've seen him throw some of them though. I've seen him throw a couple. He threw a couple of them, man. But once he starts connecting with those razor blades, he's going to start cutting some fools, man. He might kill a guy or two. I don't want him to do that. We don't need Aries to get sued yet. So, but congratulations, Finney.
He wouldn't have had to throw the elbows if he would have kept that butt flat on that arm triangle.
You're right. Got to that point.
Every time Matt and Sterling said keep down, he'd pop right back up to his knees.
It was loud in there.
Oh,
all right, main event, guys. Last fight. Then we're going to cut everybody loose. We're going to bring Robbie Ring in here for our feature interview. Main event, Quentin Culpepper defending that home gym there of Rush MMA, hometown guy also, taking on a very tough Mad Mike Wilson, who is coming in on some wins. He's 2-2. Another tough grappler out of Doug Usher's camp there at Independent MMA. And man, this one was all Quentin Culpepper. He gets a triangle locked in there pretty early. Hits some nasty elbows from his back, slices Mike open. We got blood, and before you know it, it is all over. Just about a minute or so into the first round, it is Quentin Culpepper picking up a slick submission win. He moves to I guess he moves to 5-1 now. Quentin Culpepper does. He's on a bit of a run and gets that win in the home gym. Excited to see what he does next. We'll go to you, Justin, on this one. Your thoughts on this main event? Was it over a little quicker than you anticipated?
Yeah, it was, man. Mike's a scrappy dude. He's really hard to finish, especially that quickly. But Quentin, as soon as they hit the ground, he started throwing that triangle up, landing some nasty elbows. Mike was leaking like crazy, and once he locked that triangle up, man, there wasn't much you could do about it. He's a tough dude. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for him. But we'll see Mike back for sure. He's a tough guy as well, and he's got a future in this as well.
Jeff, wrap us up here. Final take.
Was really an impressive win by Culpepper because I was really expecting that to go some rounds. Just knowing, Mike's grittiness and his toughness and his background. I would never have called it to end that quick and that early in that fashion, which is not a knock on Mike. It's praise for Culpepper. And, Finney and Culpepper back-to-back, both winning. That crowd went home very happy because those two were pretty much 90% of your ticket sales. So to go back-to-back from those two amazing fights was awesome for the show. But, Quentin Culpepper with that performance, I mean, he's right there. He's got to be on the cusp of, of something else at this point. He's not as young as Finney. So if he's going to make a move, now's probably the time to make it for him. But that was a hell of a statement right there for him. And Mike is another one of those guys, though. You look at this card, we're talking about that Wellmaker fight. What was it, McKinney that he fought? Then you take you take Mike, and you look at some of the guys that lost fights and how well they performed and just how skilled they are. Instead of looking at the guy who won it, what's next for them, because what's next for them is going to come. We spent a lot of time, you and me, Tim, talking about those guys that lost still look so good and still had so much potential. What's next for them and what other fights can be made with guys like that? Mike still got some fights out there. Hell, I wouldn't still mind seeing Mike and Logan fight. I know that was something, we had looked at once in the past. McKinney, there's so many different options. You could still look at him, and he'll probably be the favorite in a lot of fights. So
he's at 35, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who's that? Yeah.
McKinney, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of fights there, but hats off to Quentin Culpepper. He closed the show out not just in his home gym at the place he trains every day. like a champ. So good job.
Was a pleasure working with everyone involved. Conflict and of course NFC. Great production. Really enjoyed that, and hope we get to work together again sometime. Congrats to all the winners, and everybody that just saw their fights through. Everybody put on a good show. There wasn't anyone that really kind of was a letdown, even in losses. Everybody put up a great performance. So looking forward to next time. And with that, we're going to let everybody go. Thanks you guys for sitting in with me. We're going to have Robbie Ring join us here in just a moment. We will be talking to him, Justin, Torres, Greg. Always a pleasure. We will see you guys in Knoxville next weekend.
Yes, sir. See y'all.
Before we bring in Robbie, get this preview for this Knoxville show. Yep.
Yeah, man. Let's hit that.
We are back with my man Robbie Ring. Going to be main eventing next weekend's Aries 5 from the world famous Cotton Eye Joe. Robbie, what's going on, my man?
I'm doing well, Tim. How are you guys?
We're good. We appreciate you taking some time out with us here. I know this is probably your last hard week of training camp before you get into just kind of that conditioning and weight loss mode next week. So we're excited for you to take a few minutes out with us. Jeff, we've got Robbie coming up here next week. It's a main event at the Joe. Robbie's fought at the Joe now a couple times under the old guard, and this will be our first time hosting him. I'm excited for it. I know you are as well.
Oh, absolutely. A couple times with Robbie. This would be, I've got the hometown correct now, Withville, Virginia. So the Ring family will be happy with me. I've pronounced it right. But yeah, man, I've enjoyed Robbie since day one of meeting him. He's definitely one of, in my eyes, one of these just like quickly rising up and comers who just kind of snuck up 3-0 now, right? 3-0 as a professional, man, and you start getting at that 4-0, 5-0 range, shit really starts to skyrocket for you at that point. So, right there on the cusp, fighting a guy that, is very deceiving. They're very deceiving when you look at him, but he's got, some slick skill. So even at 3-0, Dusty Little is going to pose, some problems that he's going to have to watch out for. So just because this is Dusty's, debut does not mean that there's things that Robbie does not have to, be careful about and watch out for. This is going to be a tough fight. So Robbie, man, it's been a pleasure for me, and it's going to be a pleasure next week to call another one.
Yes, sir. I'm excited as always to step back into Cotton Eye Joe. I always love fighting there for the fans.
It's been a good venue for you so far, Robbie. And to correct Jeff, Dusty's 1-0 coming into this. So he made his pro debut.
Oh, that's right.
Just a couple weeks ago. So he's 1-0 coming in. Got some momentum. Both you guys with some momentum. Robbie, this is your first professional main event, if I'm not mistaken. You're no stranger to main eventing in the amateur ranks, but it's got to be pretty cool to headline a pro card now.
Oh yeah, I've been telling everybody that I was like, I fought a ton of main events as an amateur fighter, but it's going to be different. It's going to be different on the big stage as a professional, and one that I'm like I said, I'm just really, really excited for.
Let's talk a little bit about the matchup. Dusty Little in front of you. He is from North Knox Ishinru here in Knoxville. He's actually the local guy here. And he made his pro debut about 2-3 weeks ago. Knocks off Abe Sellers down in the Gulf. And that was actually a pretty impressive win looking at it. Sellers, a guy that was 3-2. So Dusty's a guy that seems like he's very confident coming into this fight. as far you fought some very tough amateur fights, but would you say this is safe to say in the professional ranks, this will be a bit of a step up for you, and one that I know that you're excited for, one that one you were asking for.
Yeah, I was scheduled to fight Edward Massey
Which would have been
on
awesome,
this,
yeah.
and I was training hard for that. That was a fight that I knew that I knew that I was going to win that fight in my mind. I said, I'm better than this guy. I was going to go in there and take care of business and really showcase what I know I'm capable of. Edward Massey pulled out, and then Dusty Little stepped in, and I respect him for that. I'm not going to say anything bad about Dusty, but I respect him. I do feel like I have advantages everywhere the fight goes. I've definitely got more professional experience than Dusty, but it's a fight. You can't take anybody lightly in there. He's capable of winning. He's won by submission. He's won by knockout, but I've won a lot of fights too by everything. So I'm confident. I've worked hard for this fight.
Well, I wanted to give you some props on, being willing to step to a guy like Edward Massey, and you guys were very quick to accept that fight. And now that is a major leap up in competition, just because he's got a whole lot of pro experience. He's fought overseas. He's fought on some big stages. So trust me, no one was as bummed as I was as well for that one to fall out. Maybe down the road we can work it out again. But as it is, you guys were easy to roll with the punches. Now you've got a very different style on your hands. I think with Massey, you've got a guy that. He's a tall, long, rangy, athletic guy, known to be a striker mainly, and has some big knockouts on his resume. Little is he's not really an ace at any one thing, but is adept at all things. Like you just mentioned, he's got a knockout in his pro debut, but before that, his last amateur fight was actually with Aries, and he did a submission in that one. So he's a guy that is a little less athletic, but probably a little craftier. Would you say?
Oh yeah, I think honestly, after watching both guys, of course I've watched film. Dusty actually did some things that I found really impressive. He takes the fight to where he wants it to be. Edward Massey, he's a good athlete. But like you said, stylistically, this is a lot different of a matchup. But I train with a really good team at Ring Combat Sports. We've put together good game plans and work different scenarios. So I'm about ready for anything that's thrown at me.
Jeff, I'll tag out to you here. What you got from a man?
Well, man, Robbie, growing up as a kid, I played a lot of sports, but I was I was the kid that got dropped off at sports, and parents came back by and picked me up when it was over. Showed up on game day. Really didn't talk a lot about the game or such. But for you, sports is a family affair. Absolutely. Talk about, I know in a perfect world, we'd like to say that everything's a pro for that, but what are some cons? What are the pros and cons of having, I know, I can see, I guess I see the pros of having a family so ingrained in what you're doing, but there's got to be some cons in there at times. Talk a little bit about what it's like for Robbie Ring's, fight career to be such a family affair.
So, like you said, having my mom and my dad being my coaches has been a blessing to me, but there are cons. One con is usually after you go to a practice, you can go home and you can just let everything settle in and just think about it on your own. It's not like that here. I go to practice. I could throw a kick or not pivot my foot on a kick completely right. Well, I'm going to hear about it the next 12 hours until we go back to the gym the next day and I do something else wrong. But that's actually helped me become a better fighter, is having my mom and my dad in my ear. They were really hard on me, growing up. And when I was younger, gosh, I was fighting. I had 7 amateur fights before I even turned 19 years old. And I wouldn't say that I was burnt out of fighting, but my mind wasn't completely right. Like I wasn't confident in myself. And I looked back and I said, is it because, my parents were hard on me in my training and they're very, they critiqued me a lot. But now that I've figured that out, that I can actually have a little bit of confidence in myself and still be humble, of course, because that's what I stand for. That's when things really started to change for me. So you all are going to see a different Robbie Ring in there on Friday night next week because my mind is sharp now. I'm fully confident in myself, and I'm going to give this a true run.
Do you? I heard others that I've talked to that are kind of in a similar situation said it's not that they were getting burned out. It was just there was never an off time, like you said. So
Yes.
even if it's not getting burned out at the gym or stuff, it's getting burned out on just having to always talk about that and never getting to turn fights off or training off and just have moments where I'm not a fighter, you're not my coaches, we're just talking
Hmm.
about the football game, we're just talking about
Yeah.
school, we're just talking about, is that kind of more what it is when you say just
Yeah.
it's always on?
Yes. And fight. It was fighting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I don't get me wrong, I loved that. But now I've started finding ways that I can take a day,
Right.
go out with my girlfriend. I like going to Knoxville. We just went to a PBR last weekend
Nice.
at the Coliseum there.
Yeah.
Things like that, things that have nothing to do with fighting, and that's what's made me mentally stronger. Whenever I sat there and I thought about fighting all the time, I started nitpicking little things that I do wrong, and it was driving me crazy, to be honest. But now I've noticed, quit being so hard on yourself. I've paid my dues to martial arts, and I feel like I've earned the right to be a little
Take a day
bit
off.
more confident in myself and take a
Yeah.
day off too.
Right.
Yeah.
So looking ahead here, we've got you're 3-0. You're aiming to be 4-0 after this. I've talked to your pops, Greg, a lot about your career, and they've been very smart about taking things as they come. You're still a very young buck in this game. You're very experienced because you've been at it your entire life, but you still got a lot of time ahead of you to make the proper adjustments and to take things the right way. What are you doing as far as your training goes to make sure that you're elevating um, with the rest of the bugs, and this is no, obviously you guys have developed a lot of solid fighters that are in combat sports, but you're still kind of like the top of the pecking order. And only naturally you have to get those stronger and stronger guys to push you as you
Hmm.
progress through the professional ranks and take on tougher guys. I've talked to Greg about some various places you've been kind of getting some cross training in to sharpen your skills. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we've started implementing a Wednesday pro day at our gym, and all the training is revolved around me. And that's
Nice.
not something that usually happens at our gym. We have a lot of members at the gym, and we like to make sure that everybody gets their fair share of training and attention from the instructors. And myself, I'm an instructor at the
Right.
gym, so but these Wednesdays that are completely revolved around me, we have six of our toughest dudes in the gym come in on that Wednesday. It's a fresh guy in every minute, and we're just grinding. I mean, it's like a sauna in the gym by the time we're done. Just and it really does. We got some killers. We got a lot of amateur fighters right now who's progressing their way up fast. We have Luke Cancer and Kyle Frankenfield. Great, Kyle's a great striker. Um, so yeah, we've been doing that. I've cross trained before with High Stand MMA in Charlotte. You may know the Ultimate Fighter, 185-pound champion on the last season of Tough,
That's right.
Brian
That's right.
Battle.
Mm-hmm.
And love Brian. He is a really, really good guy, and somebody that I can, I guess, call a friend now. And Shamik Harvey, there's some good guys down there. Tom Ziegler and Kevin Ferrant, they're great coaches. They've been open arms bringing me in and getting me some training in with their guys as well.
Very nice, very nice. So, let's talk about goals here. Obviously, there's no doubt that your goal is to make it all the way to the top, to make it to the UFC, to make it to the top levels of the sport. Let's talk about short-term goals, though. Is there anything that in 2022 that you kind of just got on your short list of things to accomplish? Is there, you want to fight X amount of times, you want to get so many wins, or is there a certain rank or accomplishment that you want to achieve this year in 2022?
Or a name you want to fight.
Or a name that you want to call out, yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I'll put it this way: I want that Aries 135-pound belt around my waist by the end of the year.
I love it.
I think after this fight, it puts me in good position. I mean, at 4-0, I can't be denied too much longer. I want that strap around my waist, and of course, I'm not worried about rankings. The way I see it is by the end of the day, people are in that top 5 are going to have to fight me at some point, and then we're going to see who the true ranking is. But you all know at this professional level, it's hard to get fights locked in. I could call out number 1 guys or number 2 guys, but they might not accept the fight. But what I will say is I'd like to have some gold around my waist by the end of the year.
Hey, I like it, Jeff. I think with a win here at 4-0, it would be awful hard to not put together a title fight for Robbie next.
I leave the matchmaking to you, and I do the other stuff, but I'm going to step on out there and say that I think if Robbie pulls away or pulls this win out next week, it's not a matter of if he gets it. It's who you're going to find worthy to be the opponent. I think it'd be a no questions asked kind of thing when it came to Mr. Ring if he were to get a W next Friday night.
Well, Robbie, we're super excited for next weekend, man. The Joe's always been good to you. You're hoping that the third time's a charm here, and looking to move to 4-0 in the main event against Dusty Little. Before I let you go, I want to let you get some shout-outs where they're due. Any friends, families, training partners, sponsors you want to give some love to, I'll let you shout them out, and then also let our people know where they can follow your social media so you can build that up too.
Oh yeah. First, I'd like to give all the glory to God. If it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be able to even compete at this level. Fighting mixed martial arts has been really good to me over the years. I've not known life without it. Like to give a shout out to my mom and my dad. They keep saying that they're getting up there in age, so I'm going to have to get the ball rolling for them. I want my dad and my mom to see me step foot in that UFC octagon one day and show them that all the work they've put into me is paid off. All of my sponsors, just a few of my top ones, I'm not going to name all of them, but Hedrick's Auto, Varney Construction, A1 Storage, Window World of Withville, and Advantage Driver Improvement. Thank you all for supporting me for this fight. And then last, of course, my team, Ring Combat Sports. And then all the people who have supported me in buying tickets. Now, I've got something to tell you all that you might like to hear.
Okay.
I have broke record-breaking sales for this fight. I've never sold this many tickets to an event before. So
we love to hear that.
I am packing the Cotton Eye Joe out. And like I put in a couple of my social media posts, I'm the adopted son of Knoxville, Tennessee. So, Dusty might be the hometown guy, but I'm telling you, on fight night, I'm going to be the hometown guy. So, you all, if you haven't got your tickets yet, all my supporters watch this, get your tickets. The link's all over my Facebook page. You can find me on Facebook at Robbie Ring, and you can find me on Instagram at RazorRobMMA.
Robbie, you want to know your number right now? You want to know your number? I got it right here.
Yes, let's hear it.
47.
Yep, and you got some more, and there's some more paper tickets that I just sold tonight. So add about 10 to that.
Yeah, 47 from Virginia all the way to Knoxville.
Robbie says Virginia's taking over Joe.
About to hit that.
And I got a few. I've got a few from Georgia coming too. So you all, I'm packing it out. I love the Cotton Eye Joe. We're gonna fill it up, and I'm gonna have all my supporters there cheering for me. The adopted son of Knoxville, Tennessee, here.
Remember that, Jeff, when you announce it. The Knoxville's adopted son, Robbie Ring.
Yep.
Hey, Robbie, we appreciate it, my man. Very much looking forward to seeing you next week. Always a pleasure talking to you, and we will see you all next Thursday.
All right, sounds good. Thank y'all.
All right, take care, Robbie. Always a pleasure speaking with Mr. Ring. Always a pleasure seeing his folks, Greg and Kim, also very, very respectful family and team. And man, they've done a good job with that one, Jeff. He actually finished off that promo pretty good. you're muted, I think.
I am. Yes, I mean Robbie's got it all going right now. He's got a really good looking record at 3-0, hoping to be 4-0. We know Dusty Little has something to say about that next week, or
Yep.
we'll try to keep that from happening. But very well spoken guy, comes from a really well rounded family, and so he's got everything there. He's got the potential, but at the end of the day, man, you gotta keep stacking those W's. All the rest can look good and sound good, but at the end of the day, you got to stack those W's. Right now is 3 up, 3 down, and looking for number 4.
And we'll hear from his opponent next week. We're supposed to hear from Dusty this week. Dusty with some internet problems. Said he didn't pay the bill on time, but he got it paid. He's going to be ready to go next week. Struggling Fighter Live. Dusty admits to it, and he's a character. Wait till you talk to this guy next week. We'll have Dusty next week. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. We appreciate y'all sitting in with us. We're going to record some more tomorrow. We'll have Samantha Buttery and we'll have Ava Mai both coming up on the site tomorrow evening. So make sure you check back for all the content as well as all the Aries 4 videos that are up on the site. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. Jeff, always a pleasure, my man. We will catch you back here next week.
Tell you what we're going to do, Tim. We're going to hit it out with another promo, and then we'll see you guys later.